All right. So R.Kelly's been sentenced, I think they said 25 years or 30 years, somewhere between 25 to 30. And I talked about this before, going into detail why R.Kelly is guilty. I also broke down the examples and videos in the past before that video, really talking about how we're defending people who are found guilty of child molestation, human trafficking, human imprisonment, and just, those things in that range, to where I even talk about how so much of them are staying out of prison for so long. It's because of the money they have. Money brings power. I even broke down to where people's mindsets are like, okay, why didn't the families do something sooner? Why are they waiting now? Because what people don't realize is when you have money and power, you can hire people to make sure the families stay scared, to make sure the families don't say nothing, to make sure they are forcing money on the families to take. Hiring killers, hiring bullies, if you will. People who seem and look and to be intimidating. Eventually, when these people go down, it's because their money is running out. When their money runs out, the people protecting them go away. And the people, when protect them go away, the people who they hired to intimidate the families go away, because then they ain't getting paid anymore. And then they come through with information in private. Yeah, snitching. But it amazes me because, again, I see so much of our black mothers, our black fathers who have children champion this man, and they are putting down victims, real victims of rape, real victims who went through child trafficking, real victims who went through human imprisonment in a household, putting down real families who had to suffer and be intimidated by people like this, who they hired to say, hey, if you talk, we're going to kill you. Forcing money that they don't want, forcing dirty money. And again, something like that is just very, very sad, if not sickening, to see. Because of these things, everybody's crying over a man who is guilty, championing. And the thing is, it ain't the people on the West Coast and East Coast, it's the people down south championing pretty much a rapist. And I've been down south for 30 years, and for 30 years, the black community has protected rapists. I'm part black. I've seen this shit. I have seen fathers who put down their own daughters, who came home with black eyes, coming home crying after the police department fined, saying, hey, I was raped. And even when the rape results came back positive, they still defended the rapist and didn't even bother locking up the person who did it. I've seen mothers put down their own fucking daughters for being raped by the mother's boyfriend, the mother's fiance. You know what I'm saying? Their own fathers. and not giving a shit and downing their daughters, putting them down. Yeah. It gets very fucking horrible. And the law doesn't care. Even with the DNA test, even with the person having a background check run on them and showing up, oh, they're registered as sex offenders, they got in trouble in the past for this shit, they don't arrest them down south. The last known thing that I can recall with that happening was back in 2011. There was this woman, her boyfriend, she'd been with since 97. And so many reports have been called to where her friends called the cops on this man for years for beating the shit out of her. Getting her drunk, raping her. So like heavy domestic violence. And through so much testing, and I've done a video on this channel a couple of years ago or so, but like I'm saying, there was so much evidence there, even with him just raping her, like I said, that they never bothered to lock up this man. And he wasn't just doing that to her, he was doing that to a couple of women. And when I got locked up in 2011, they locked up the same guy in the same cell block that I'm in. Alright? He got locked up for DUI. Well, he was supposed to take a probation class, same class that I was in. So, one night, he shoots and kills his girlfriend, dumps her body right behind the place that she worked, which was Pizza Hut. And she worked at Pizza Hut since 95. After that, after her body was found, because gunshots, police are going to come right away. Well, lo and behold, the cops recognized the woman, her identity really quick. And, let's go to her place of residence. Who lives there? Her boyfriend. And they've had domestic abuses, rapes since 97. And then they finally decide to lock up this man after 20 or at least 17 years later. Being 20 years later now, he's still sitting in prison for the crime that he admitted. So, if you guys don't get the point of this story, people tend to look the other way when it comes to this shit. It really does. It really does. People, when it comes to gun violence against children, women, schools, we tend to come together. But when it comes to real rape, people like real victims crying out, we tend to look the other way and say, we don't care because it's not us, or we don't care because we like this person. And so we're idol worshiping somebody to making them a false god. Which I beg the question, when your child cries to you about being sexually raped, or when your child is kidnapped one day and found dead, are you still going to put your child down? No, you're going to be fucking heartbroken. You're going to want to go catch the motherfucker and kill them that did that shit to your child. But let's say, again, your child, comes to you talking about he or she's been raped, or she's been kidnapped but found. Yeah, you're going to put them down. Exactly damn well you're going to fucking put them down. And that's exactly how it is down here in the South. So why cry over somebody that's guilty? Why? Let me ask you. Let me ask people who see this video. This is for the question for the people that stand up for R.kelly. What makes R.kelly innocent in your mind compared to the abusive relationship of Amber Heard and the shit she done to Johnny Depp? A woman who was found guilty, a man who they wanted to pin everything on, found innocent and rewarded, who was creating a movement for men who were going through the same shit that Johnny Depp's going through behind closed doors. And the same stuff Amber Heard's doing to Johnny Depp, what R. Kelly's doing, but worser. What makes the two different in your mind? What makes one guilty over the other? I'm very curious about that. I am very, very, very curious about that. You know, what makes one guilty over the other? Seriously. Because you hate Amber Heard, right? But you love R. Kelly, who was worser than Amber Heard. But when it comes to somebody who is proven innocent, when it comes to rape, when it comes to hurting children, right? When it came to Michael Jackson, going through what he went through, proven, his innocence been proven. People left evidence behind, right? For a man who turned out to be innocent, everybody still wants to claim he's guilty. So I'm going to bring up the question again. And I broke down the two in a video before, the differences. It's a very long video, but I do recommend people check it out. Just scroll through to find it. But I ask you this question, you know, if you think an innocent man who got proven innocent of all those type of charges, such as Michael Jackson, what makes him think that he is still guilty in your mind compared to R. Kelly, who has been proven guilty with evidence showing that he's doing the stuff he's doing, makes him innocent in your mind and not guilty? You know, I ask that question. I do, because I'm curious to know what people are going to say when they see this video about these questions. I can tell you right now, I already know the answer, but I want to see if you know the answer. You know, there used to be upon a time, and let me tell you something, man, I'm 33 years old. Hey, once upon a time when I was growing up, and even the generation before me, shit like this used to happen and come out. Well, guess what? We stopped fucking with them people, man, regardless if they were famous or not. And let me tell you something, if the jail didn't get them, the streets would have got them at the end of the week, partner. Yeah. Even when it came to famous people, man, back then, and even the time when I was growing up, you know, who were found guilty, hey, you know, they didn't see the end of the week. They didn't even make it past the end of the street, you know. And if the jail ended up getting them, well, I guarantee you, they ain't gonna make it to their cell block that first time they step in there. And it's just like I begged the question up with this one. Oh yeah, you know, what makes, you know, Elvis not guilty to white people? A man who married a 15, 14-year-old girl and had sex with her, who became his wife and had his child. And people say, oh, well, that's okay, that's different. Why? Because it's Elvis, because he's white? No, it doesn't make a difference, man. It's still wrong, partner. It's still very much wrong. It is. It is. You know. So, again, here's this question. What's the difference between R. Kelly and Elvis in that situation? Because one had sexual relationships and married a girl at the age of 15. Another one, rape, kidnapping, holding imprisonments against somebody's will, had a relationship with Aaliyah, 14 years old. Right? 14 years old. What makes one not guilty over the other? That's the question with that one. So you got 3 questions. And I want to know, and I'm curious what people are going to say in the comments, with these 3 questions. I want to know 3 answers to all 3 of those questions that I just raised. Because right now, we're in a world where people who do shit to other people like that are stood up for, and the people who are victimized are downplayed. Now, I get it. In between this Me Too movement and the time and place where we're at, yeah, even back in my time, man. Hey, there's been people that known to do false allegations. Absolutely. But look how many real allegations there are compared to false allegations. There's more real allegations than there is false. So, with me doing this video and me still seeing this, people crying over a man who is guilty, who just got sentenced. I mean, be honest, did you really give a fuck about the dude? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But why cry over somebody that is guilty? That's a question that I raise. Why? Let's say, matter of fact, let's do it like this. Let's say you were one of those kids, you were one of those girls that R. Kelly did that shit to, right? And your family can't do nothing because they're constantly being watched by the people he hired. Your family's constantly being pushed around, threatened, and forced to take money they don't want to take. And you're trapped for years. You got no freedom. You got to go through the same shit in hell every day. Would you still be saying the same shit that you're saying now about R. Kelly if you were those girls? I guarantee you wouldn't. You would want to see the guy behind fucking bars. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You would want to see him behind bars. It's like African Bambaataa. Hell, there's so much evidence against the dude for 50 damn years for the shit he did to kids. It ain't even fucking funny. And you know what? Brooklyn is still defending this man, saying, hey, you can't arrest him. We don't care what he did. That's sickening. But Brooklyn mindset kind of fucked up, though, when it comes to that shit, because it's really sus town. Back then, it's like it is now. Shit, I already broke that down in examples. I done a video about Bobby Shmurda. You know what I'm saying? After he came back the way he's been acting. Thing is, Bobby Shmurda always been sussed. He just got more sus when he got fully turned out in prison. But yeah, with that being said, hey, if you don't like this video, so be it. But I raise the questions that I raise to you all who see this video. And I'm curious to know, what are your answers, to those questions? Because personally, hey, motherfucker got what he deserved. I don't defend people like that.